Hi everyone, it's Holly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you something really exciting. It is my very first time using the M1 xTool. So this is a laser cutting machine and engraver. It also cuts vinyl, much like a Cricut machine does, but with that extra capability of being a laser as well. So I've never used anything like this before, and I am a little bit nervous about getting started with it, but I am excited to try it out and appreciate that the xTool team reached out to me and asked if I'd like to give it a review. So what they have sent me is the 10-watt xTool M1 and with the deluxe bonus kit as well. So I've got a lot of materials to play with to show you a few beginner ideas on how you can get started as well. Okay, so first up, let's talk about unboxing this machine. It comes in an enormous box and really well packed, so you don't have to be too worried about how it gets delivered because they do pack it really well, really firm with lots of foam and whatnot to keep all the parts safe in transit. And inside there you'll find all of your essentials for getting started, as well as a few bonus materials depending on which pack that you do get, whether you get the deluxe version or if you get just the basic xTool M1, but there are some beginner materials in there either way, so you do have something to practice on when you first get your M1. Okay, so let's have a look at some of what's inside the box. So in here is a 4-piece riser set, the rotary accessory kit. There are 2 different cutting mats. So there's a light grip and a fabric grip version. This one might come out. Okay, in here, the rotary accessory 2 for M1. There we go. And in here, the M1 Premium Material Package. Okay, so it'll tell you the different materials that you get samples of inside of the kit. So quite a few different things by the look of it, so that's very cool. It's a fabric tote bag. It's a huge pile of wooden tags. And these are some different materials to use. So there's some wood. Also have some cardstock style things inside there. I have some wooden coasters. It's very cool. Let's have a closer look at what's actually in here rather than me just guessing. So you've got the stainless steel dog tags, jewelry set, the metal cards, the card box, stone coasters, laser marking colored paper. Okay, so that's what that was that I wasn't sure about. Wooden coasters, phone stand, the wooden tags, basswood plywood 3mm, black walnut plywood 3mm, craft paper, heat transfer vinyl, self-adhesive vinyl, sticker paper, leather, colored glossy PVC sheet, transparent frosted PVC, and a canvas tote bag. So there is loads of stuff inside that premium materials package. So it's definitely well worth adding that onto your order if you are wanting to experiment before you dig right into creating your first projects. All right, so I've just put the xTool on my desk at the moment because I don't really have anywhere else to put it. It is really big and it is quite heavy, so I'm going to have to think about a place where I can store it when I'm not using it. At the moment, I've got it set up here next to my desktop Mac. I haven't actually set everything up yet, so let's do that, and hopefully it's relatively easy to do. So in here it looks like you get a couple of materials that come with it as a standard, so that's not including those ones that were the extra materials pack that I showed you earlier. So that is great that you do get a few samples to experiment with. Let's see what's inside here. So you get one of those metal dog tags to practice engraving. There's a sheet of vinyl, that's leather, a sheet of leather. This is vinyl. I'm not sure what kind of vinyl that is. That would be sticker paper and a piece of 3mm basswood. So that is great that you do get a few items with it as standard. And in here you'll also find your manual and then all the important bits that you need. So you've got your power cord in here, replacement blades, power adapter, and this very important air filter thing to help make sure that you don't get fumigated inside. And they would be the riser prisms that sit inside under certain projects. It was a little bit tricky to put the smoke hose on at the back. I did struggle with that a little, and again with trying to install the blade, I wasn't sure how to get the blade holder out of the machine, but it actually comes out quite easily once you figure it out. So a few little things that took me a bit of time to work out. There is a tutorial video on their website to take you through the startup. It is quite quick though, so there are a few extra questions I had to research a little bit further and have a little play around on my own, but at least you know that is there, and learning by video is usually my preferred, and it's probably most people's preferred to actually see someone doing it themselves. So the fact that you do need the ventilation hose for using an engraving laser machine is a little bit daunting. I don't have any windows that I can just open and hang that outside because we have security screens on all our windows. So at this stage, I've just got it, you can't see it at the moment, but it's just put up against my open window at the back of my office there. And it's just gonna have to ventilate through that screen for now. So that is something to keep in mind, that you need to have it near a window when you are setting up your xTool. And the fact that it is a really large machine. So it is huge. It is heavy, but not excessively considering the size of the machine. So you do need a fair bit of space. At the moment, I've got it sitting on my desk. This isn't where it's going to live permanently because I need my desk. But, you know, it's not so heavy that you can't just move it and put it where you need it to go if you don't have a dedicated space that you can have it set up all the time. But if you do have it somewhere you want it set up permanently, you're going to have it somewhere with an open space, because this is, you know, it takes quite a bit of space when you are opening that top panel. So you need to have it in an open shelf or on top of a desk. So that is something to be mindful of with where you're going to keep your xTool. So for me, I'll probably just keep it up on the shelf, and then whenever I want to use it, just put it down, and I'll just work on batching out the projects that I want to make. So like I mentioned, the xTool is a little bit similar to a Cricut machine or a Silhouette machine, but it has those extra capabilities, that being that it can do the engraving and the laser cutting that you don't get with a Cricut. But it does still cut vinyl and those other materials that your Cricut can cut. The difference is it doesn't have that feed option where you can cut really long projects on your vinyl and whatnot. It only will cut what is inside of this space. So if you are wanting it for vinyl, it's probably not the best tool for you. But if you're wanting it for doing the engraving and the laser cutting and, you know, those thicker materials, then this has those capabilities that a Cricut doesn't have. So that's something to think about when you're comparing which you'd like to. Okay, so let's talk about the noise. It does have a fair bit of noise to it, but not drastically worse than a standard vinyl cutting machine or whatnot. So it's the amount of noise you would expect for the capabilities that it has. So realistically, it's actually quite quiet considering what it can do. All right, so let's do some creating and see what I come up with, and fingers crossed that I don't stuff anything up on my first go. Inside the xTool M1 Premium Materials package, you get a load of these little wooden gift tags. So for my beginner project, I'm going to make some little gift tags with some names on them, just as the easiest starting point, and show you how I go. So opening up the M1, and I am going to put my little gift tags in here. Trying to make them as straight as I possibly can without actually using a ruler or anything. Okay, so I have opened up the design software, and it's just connecting now. So as you can see, it's just refreshing there, and now it's captured the image. And so that straight away tells you what is inside the machine, and it takes away the guesswork of knowing where everything is. My settings, laser flapped rectangular wood piece, and I've used the auto measure to measure the thickness there, and it's not raised. Alright, so need to add the text for the tags. And then choose engrave for that. Do we have a copy option? No, you can smart fill though. So then I'm going to go ahead and change these ones. That one I need to make. Alright, so start. Alright, so you can see that it's done those first two tags there. Ugh, the glare off my window is terrible, sorry. So there are the tags all finished. They look quite cute, and that took a total of essentially 12 minutes to do. So not too bad, not crazy fast, but reasonable. So there we go, that is my finished little gift tags. And alright, so it has been about a week since I first set up the M1, and I've had a little bit of a play, tried a few different projects, and it has gone mostly well. There have been a few little errors, but they're mostly user errors because I am the most impatient person on the planet. I very rarely take the time to really learn every little detail. I like to just jump in, learn on the go. And that's probably not the best method for a machine that has a learning curve quite as big as this. But here are the projects that I have made. So, like I said, I've made a few errors. This one is maybe it was the second project I made. Possibly. So the issue with this, it's a wooden phone holder. I wanted to engrave it, but I had the blade still in, and the blade has actually marked the wood. So once I took the blade out, I had no issues at all. So it has a little bit extra character, not a big deal. Still does its job, still cute, and it's one of my favorite quotes at the moment. I also did the vinyl cutting feature. So that's actually using the blade rather than the laser. And made this shirt for my husband for upcoming Father's Day gift, and that turned out fine. It cut really easily, it cut relatively quickly, and that's, you know, super cute. It looks cool. He'll get a good giggle out of that one. And then I went for the more ambitious of the three projects and actually wanted to use the laser cutting feature, which I hadn't used yet, and I made this sign for my niece's first birthday. So these pieces have been cut out of 3mm. Tongue-tied. They have been cut out of 3mm plywood, and then this baseboard, which I got from Kmart here in Australia, I engraved these parts onto it, and then this little Winnie the Pooh, which is a free SVG file I found online, it did the engraving and then it did the cutting around it, so that was cool. So a few little things that were mostly user error that happened. So me accidentally setting up these two to engrave rather than cut, so then I had to rerun the cut file through, which is fine because I hadn't moved anything, so it just cut right around where it had engraved, and that was perfect. This one didn't cut all the way through, which is probably because the plywood was actually a little bit thicker than 3mm, which is sort of like that, beyond that threshold of where the M1 excels. So it did get stuck, and I did manage to break that bit, but it doesn't look like it when it's glued on there. You can't really see it, so not a big deal. But you know, it wasn't that slow. I heard that it was a slow machine. I don't think this took too long, but engraving something more detailed is obviously going to take a lot longer. As far as my thoughts on the M1, I have had a lot of fun. I was really nervous, as I mentioned at the start, about the learning curve, and absolutely it is going to be a big learning curve still. There's still a lot that I haven't tried and a lot more that I can do with this machine, but I'm excited to learn. The next thing I want to try is engraving a mirror. So that's a big one. But I've seen some other people that have managed to do that, and it just looks amazing. Some of the projects that people have been sharing in the official M1 group on Facebook are amazing, and there's also so many people that are sharing tips and troubleshooting and whatnot. So if you have got an M1 or you think about getting one, make sure you do join that group as well, because it has been a great resource for me. But yeah, I can't wait to create some more projects, and I will be sharing tutorials with you here on YouTube. So make sure that if you do want to see more beginner projects and hopefully more advanced ones when I get better, that you do subscribe and follow along. And I hope you have enjoyed my review. Bye everyone.